A 1-mana equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has haste and ward 1. That's not terrible. You know what? I actually like this card. So it's very cheap to get into. It's very cheap to equip. I mean, you can, if you have nothing to do on turn 1, you just play your Lava Spur Boots. And then later on in the game, it effectively gives anything that you play haste, so long as you have an additional mana. And it makes it a little bit more difficult for others to kill the creature for as long as it has ward 1. So you'd like, are you gonna pay the 1? You're gonna pay the 1? Lava Spur Boots. We want to pay the 1 for my Lava Spur Boots? These boots were made for far more than walking. Oh, I see. They had their own joke in there, didn't they? Oh, Toilet Ducks at 8 p.m. is way better than 8 a.m. Yeah, the show time might be changed. Although 8 p.m. is still a bit difficult for me, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Am I feeling cold? Yeah, we're getting into the weather. Okay, hold on. I'll talk about that as we look up Sheelan's Spring Slasher. You know, we're getting into the weather where we're going for Spring Slasher. Spring Slasher. How about just Slasher? I don't know this card. No, can't find it. Sorry about that, Sheelan. Such card does not... Or maybe... I don't know. Or maybe it's not on the database for one reason or another. We'll go with Toilet Ducks Vraska the Silencer. Maybe you're looking up a commander card that isn't up yet. Okay, we got... You can suggest the commander cards too, for as long as they show up here. Okay, we have a green, black, 1 generic, 3/3 Gorgon Assassin with Death Touch. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, you may pay 1. If you do, return that card to the battlefield tapped under your control. It's a treasure with tap. Sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color, and it loses all card types. So we got a 3 mana, 3/3 Death Toucher. That's not bad. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, so basically you can pay the 1. You kill their creatures, you pay the 1. If you do, return that card to the battlefield as a treasure. So you actually, okay, so you're building up mana. So you actually don't lose anything off of this. You kill their thing, you get a treasure. Oh, it comes into battlefield tapped though. That's the catch. I still think that's fine. I like it. So it's a weird way of, I guess, exiling stuff. Hold on, sacrifice this artifact. I guess they get it back. It's a weird way of, I guess, exiling something from the graveyard. It's like exiling without exiling. You can pay 1 if you do return the card to the battlefield. Yeah, this is weird graveyard hate, while being ramp. Oh, it does not exist. Okay, don't worry. You can always suggest another card. We got our first super chat for the day by Kagan. My friend really likes Rambling Possum. I didn't finish my rambling about it being cold right now. When the temperature in Canada goes from winter to spring, winter to spring, sometimes it gets really cold because like it's not cold enough outside for the heat to kick on and so on. Okay, we have Rambling Possum, a 3 mana 3/3 Possum Mount. When it attacks, when Possum attacks while saddled, it gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Then you may return any number of creatures that saddled at this turn to their owner's hand. Saddle 1. Tap any number of other creatures you control with total power 1 or more. This mount becomes saddled until end of turn. Isn't this just Crew? They literally remade Crew. This is Archmage's Charm. That is not exclusive to this set. Reprints not... Well, certain reprints not allowed. Someone explain to me how this is not Crew. This is literally Crew. Like you saddle it, just like you get in a vehicle. So you hop on your possum, for example. Yeah, it's basically more Crew as far as I'm concerned. It's a cactus helmet. So it does. It does have a cactus helmet. Can we get closer here? Oh, can you see the cactus? I am determined. Oh, it didn't work. What's going on here? Okay, whatever. The cactus helmet. That's funny. It's gonna protect you, I think. Maybe not. So when it attacks, if it's saddled. Oh, I see. So it's like a vehicle that can attack by itself, but if it's been crewed, it gets a little bit bigger. When does it have to be tap any of the things you control? This mount. Oh, you have to do it as a sorcery. Sorcery. I don't really like this card. I mean, I can't. Maybe this saddle thing has a purpose somewhere. You know, you make a token, it has summoning sickness or whatever. You might as well saddle your possum, but I'm not a huge not a wild fan of this thing. Okay, next up, let's look at yeah, it can still attack normally. That it can do. Yeah, crude in air quotes. Exactly. And okay, let's go look at Old Boy's Embrace of the Unknown. Oh, sorry, Embrace the Unknown. My apologies. Embrace the Unknown, a 3-mana sorcery. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. And it's got Retrace. Oh, so this is actually massive card advantage. So you may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a land card in addition to it paying its other costs. So the fact that you have until your next turn to play those cards. Remember, playing cards means you can play lands. So you could go to your 3rd land drop, Embrace the Unknown, flip over like a land or so, next turn play that land, and also you can discard lands from your top deck to also Embrace the Unknown. This is a great card. Everyone's gotta die somehow. Look how cheery this set is. Everyone's gotta die somehow. I'll be damned if I meet my end cowering in some cellar. All right, yeah, you be brave. There's something about it. There's some saying like you could die quickly as a hero or live longer as a coward. This person doesn't want to die as a coward. Alpha Nerd with the Lotus Ring, already overpriced. Oh, is this the thing that turns everything into a jeweled lotus or a black lotus? It's a 3-mana equipment, indestructible. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has vigilance. That's insane. And tap, sacrifice this creature, add 3 mana of any one color. Also equipped for 3. So you can equip for 3 to make the thing big. It's got indestructible, so you can't kill the damn thing. But you can, and then you can attack. You can attack, hit your opponent for a ton, and then sack the creature later. Like next turn. Because you're probably going to make better use of it later. It's like free. No, it's not free. You have to sack your creature. I like it. I still like this card. I think, oh man, it's probably, yeah, it's like 50 bucks right now. There's going to be a lot of jank players that are going to want to play this thing. It's not bad, though. It's a good card. Yeah, sorcery speed, sack outlet. At 3 mana, you have to pay 3 to get 3. This can go infinite if I recall correctly. There's probably some infinite combos that can be enabled out of this. Like you double the triggers that you get off of this thing. You turn creatures into Black Lotus. Nothing wrong with that, alright? Nothing wrong with that. Takes more work. Everything takes work. Look, everything is a combo if we throw enough cards at it. Jeremy Johnson, have we done Esoteric Duplicator? We have not. We got the 3-mana artifact clue. Whenever you sacrifice Esoteric Duplicator or another artifact, you can pay 2. If you do, at the beginning of your next end step, create a token that's a copy of that artifact. Look at that. We're making copies of everything. Can we make copies of the Esoteric Duplicator? Oh no, whenever you sacrifice it or another artifact, you can pay 2. At the beginning of your next end step, create a token. So I can okay, yeah, we can. We can copy the Esoteric Duplicator with itself. That is weird. Pay 2, tap. Oh, and that's the whole idea. Pay 2, sacrifice it to draw a card. And if you have something that says, you know, abilities cost less X to cast, I think this card has really good synergy there. Very nice card. Oh yeah, also if you can reduce the equip cost on this last thing, yeah, sure. That could also work as well. Your friendly neighborhood idiot, Stella, wild card. You mean the restaurant? Stella, does anyone have Stellas where they live? No, only in Canada? I don't know if it's an American chain or anything like that. Okay, we have a red, blue, 1 generic, 2/4 human rogue. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. That is great. Tap, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. Activate only if you've cast 3 or more spells this turn. Little harder to pull off, but of course the last thing that you're going to play that turn is going to be the big spell, so this is very good. Also, it's a 2/4 creature for 3 mana, so pretty durable. You guys have the eclipse up there in Canada? I don't know. I don't look at the eclipse. It comes and goes. I'm not an eclipse chaser. I don't do that stuff. Steve Cooper. Oh, Becca, splitter of seconds. This is a big card, right? I think this is one of those cards everyone's hyped up for. We have a red, black, blue, 1 generic, 2/5 Ogre Warlock with Menace. Whenever Obeka, Splitter of Seconds, deals combat damage to a player, you get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase. Sounds broken. Give Obeka like haste through that boots equipment, and then it's gonna be big danger. You are gonna have to fill your deck with, you know, upkeep trigger stuff, but that's great. That's a very, very strong. And it's a very affordable cost at 4 mana. Although I can't say I don't know, I guess you could throw your Bitter Blossom in there. Throw Bitter Blossom, get that many Bitter Blossom triggers at upkeep, lose 3 life, make 3 tokens. Oh, the possibilities are endless here. I bet you, your friendly neighborhood idiot says, I bet she's gonna be banned. This doesn't look ban-worthy. Maybe. I don't think it's a standard playable card. I mean, it might. Its Menace is also, don't underestimate Menace. Although this particular creature is not attacking for a whole lot. You're living on borrowed time. I wonder if Obeka is talking to themselves. Oh yeah, it has to deal combat. Oh, that's right. Okay, well, it has to deal combat damage. You know, we're just gonna equip that ring thing on Obeka. What was it called? The Lotus Ring. We'll put the Lotus Ring on. Smack for 5 damage. Get 5 upkeep triggers. Simple as that. Easy peasy. Okay, next up we've got a super chat we got Kagan again. Esoteric Duplicator. Broke my brain for a moment. You mean this one? The one that we just did? Are you trying to copy the Esoteric Duplicator with another super chat, Kagan? Alright, well thank you very much for your super chat. I will donate it. Weren't you here? And I wasn't paying attention. Yeah! You were literally there for that card. It was 2 seconds ago. Unless, like, you were waiting for the payment processor to go through. Anyway, funny enough. But that's okay, we're gonna donate. We'll donate it to, Surefire Selves with Transmutation Font. I'm working on it. We're gonna look, okay, is a mistake with Academy Manufacturer still floating around. Okay, Academy Manufacturer is the card. If a token enters the battlefield, you like make a food, treasure, and a clue or something like that. Okay, 5 mana artifact. Tap, create your choice of blood token, a clue token, or a food token. Aha. And then pay 3, tap, sacrifice 3 artifact tokens with different names. Search your library for an artifact card. Put it onto the battlefield! Then shuffle. Activate only as a sorcery. Ah, okay, so you basically pay 3. So 8 mana. You get to tinker something in play. There is a little bit of setup, all right? I'm like, what are you gonna go get? Bolus's Citadel? Is that like the best thing that you can do? I think that's the best thing that you can do around here. This card is a mistake, I say. This card is okay. Like, there's not even that many good cards to go get these days. And if you're the type of deck that's playing Bolus's Citadel with your Academy Manufacturer and your Transmutation Font, I think you're gonna be fine. You're not gonna break the game out of this. Oh, you want to get Portal to Phyrexia? That's possible too. It's still none of that's broken. The ability is broken, but the setup is insane. You need 3 different artifacts. You need a Transmutation Font. It's actually 3 artifact tokens with different names, and it's gotta be tokens. You gotta be making them tokens, pumping them out like rabbits make babies. All right. Boulder, where's the white jacket? What F is this? What do you mean my white jacket? I have a black, it's a sweater. ITs, love the stream. Thank you so much, Boulder. I appreciate it. Well, because of that super chat, we're gonna donate it to Zazix. Oh, by the way, I think this card is still interesting. It's not busted though. Okay, Zazix, D&D and MTG. Jace, reawakened, please. Okay, we got a blue 3 generic Jace. Sorry, we have a blue 3 loyalty Jace. You can't cast this spell on your first, on your second, or your third turns of the game. You know what? It was so funny. Mark Rosewater spoiled that this phrase was on a card. You can't cast spells on your first, second, or third turns of each game. And everyone thought it was going to be Sarah's Avenger. They thought for certain, they were dead certain this was coming to standard. Well, this is the German version. Here's the English version where it says, you can't cast the spell during your first, second, or third turns each game. Mark Rosewater so got him. So got him. Everyone get, who else got? I got. I didn't think they were going to use this thing on something else. Okay, +1, draw a card, then discard a card. So we already have a looting. That's, oh my god. This card looks a little, I don't know if it's broken. This is scary. So you don't lose anything. You draw and discard. This is going to be like a reanimator player's dream. +1, you may exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted. Okay, I don't know what that means. Does that mean, am I growing something? One day, do I put it on, like, I don't know what plotted means. It sounds like something, if I plot, you know, like something on a farm, it will grow into something that I could, into some sort of resource that I can eat later. -6, until end of turn, whenever you cast a spell, copy it, you may choose new targets for the copy. Plotted, it means you can play it on a later turn, I believe. You can't cast it on turn... Yeah, you can't cast... Oh, yeah, that's right. You can't cast it immediately. Well, you can't cast it on turn 1. You also can't cast it on turn 2. You can't cast it on turn 3, so you can do it on turn 4. But that's an excellent turn. So, like, for Goryo's Reanimator decks, you could wait till turn 4, play this, draw a loot, discard, and then you could Goryo's Vengeance that creature immediately into play. So, actually, you would want this ability by turn 4. I think this card's pretty good. It's probably not broken. They probably balanced it by making sure it can't come into play until turn 4. But it's so mana efficient, it's insane. Okay, plotted means you can exile it face up and can cast it without paying its mana cost on a later turn. You gotta be... Are you kidding me? Without paying its mana cost? I can exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less from my hand. If you do, it becomes plotted. So I get to play my spells for free in the future, except that I can see, my opponent can see it coming. Can you cheat it early? Maybe not at item. Show and tell? No, I don't even know if you can show and tell this thing in play. I don't think that works either. Show and tell. The Planeswalkers didn't exist when show and tell came out. Well. Anyway, okay, I think this card is still good. Maybe not busted. All these abilities are all very, very... Looting is very, very good, and this exiling and playing your cards for free is also pretty good. It's cool because Jace is half Phyrexian. Just like Captain Picard was half Borg. Alphamus Prime. They made Wily Coyote and Roadrunner as Cunning Coyote and Resilient... Let's look at both. Resilient Roadrunner. Yeah, they're ripping off... What is it? Warner Brothers, I think? There we go. I think they're ripping off... I think that's a Warner Brothers production. Okay, the Resilient Roadrunner. 2 mana, 2/2. Haste, protection from coyotes. Pay 3. Resilient Roadrunner can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. Makes some sense. Nothing can outrun the Resilient Roadrunner except for maybe that gingerbread man thing. In the world of Magic the Gathering, the Roadrunner and the gingerbread man run at the same pace. Next up, we've got a Cunning Coyote. Not particularly cunning. 2 mana. Where's the Acme package on its back? Where's the Acme rocket? So, you know, this Cunning Coyote is quite the engineer. Always comes up with new explosives and inventions, except none of them work. None of them are fast enough to catch a Roadrunner. But he loves a challenge. Okay, the 2/2 with haste. So he can catch it. When Cunning Coyote enters the battlefield, return target creature you control... when it enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains haste until end of turn. You can also plot this thing. You can pay 2 mana, exile this card from your hand, cast it as a sorcery on a later turn without paying its mana cost. Plot only as a sorcery. Alright. Gotcha. Actually, I don't gotcha. It's the same amount of mana. Why would I want to do this face up, cast as a sorcery on a later turn without paying its mana cost? I literally just paid its cost. Does it get around, like... does it get around sorcery removal? Is that the idea? It's like, okay, I cast this card, but it's actually not in play. It's like, sort of in play. And why would I even want to do that when it has haste? This is like a grizzly bear that I want to have in play at the same time. This card makes no sense. This card just like, it's just counterintuitive. You want to play this on turn 2. You want to attack with it. You want to give your other creature +1/+1 in haste until end of turn. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I guess the idea is you can slow it down and another target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains haste until end of turn. So that could be the creature in the future, weirdly enough. The coyote plotting is pretty hilarious. Next turn, play a creature without haste and then cast the plotted coyote. Okay, so you gave up damage earlier on the turn to get in a little bit more damage, I guess, later on in the turn, I guess. It's a it's psychological. Very, very, very psychological. Or very suspicious. Okay, so I'm gonna give a no to this card, but the Roadrunner, haste protection from coyotes. Oh, we have to pay 3 in order to make sure that it can't be blocked by creatures with haste. I don't like either of them. 2 thumbs down for the Roadrunner and Coyote. Sort of flavorful though. Okay, Kagan, what do you want? Pest control. Thank you very much for your super chat. It's some serious token hate. It's not just token hate, it's hate on everything. It's a black-white sorcery. Destroy all non-land permanents with mana value 1 or less. All non-land permanents, creatures, artifacts, enchantments. Planeswalkers when they get around to a 1-mana Planeswalker, which doesn't exist yet, thank God. What else do we have? It has cycling, so somehow if it's useless, you can... Did it really need cycling? Wizards was like, you know what? This thing might suck. Oh, this is going to be some massive EDH hate. So if you're the last, this is the type of card you want to have going last. So you don't go first, you go last. Everyone plays their Soul Ring and Mana Crypts, Mana Vaults. And then you go Pest Control. You laugh at everyone. Who would win? Mana Crypts, Mana Vaults, Soul Rings, or Pest Control? Cycling is only on there for the CEDH crowd since they don't have a sideboard. I guess that makes some sense. But this is CEDH playable. This is like clearly CEDH playable. What CEDH player would not think that this is playable? I mean, I guess unless you don't want to blow up your own. Like, this is interesting. So if you have your own Soul Ring, you're probably gonna want to cycle this. If you don't have your own Soul Ring, then you want to Pest Control this. So this card is actually a banger. It's probably gonna be a staple in a lot of formats. I don't see a format that wouldn't want this card. Insanely strong card. Ulik, Didjado. What? Oh, sorry. Oh, Didjado. Forsaken Miner. There's a lot of cards we haven't done yet. Let's go with Forsaken Miner. Pest Control, that's a banger. Forsaken Miner is a black 2/2. All right, so what is the downside to Skeleton Rogue? It can't block. Whenever you commit a crime. Not necessarily that's powerful, but like if you commit a crime, you can pay a black. If you do, return Forsaken Miner from your graveyard to the battlefield. So effectively, if you target anything, you can bring it back. This card's great. I think mono black decks are gonna want to play with this card. I don't know how different it is from the other cards that are like a black 2/1 that can't block, but at the same time can be recurred from the graveyard over and over again. But it is a great card. Okay, Surefire Selves with High Noon. The power creep is real. Okay, it is a white 1 generic enchantment. Each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. Whoa! We have a 2-mana... what's it called? What's that effect called? Rule of Law. It's a 2-mana Rule of Law. Okay, for 2 mana, each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. Spend 5 mana, sack High Noon. It deals 5 damage to any target. So... You smack them for 5. Oh, so at the right time, you can sacrifice this and play multiple spells each turn if you really need to. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. And also, like, you can't put this in any white deck. So I guess they put this ability on here. So only Boros decks can take advantage of this. You hear that? What's it called? You hear that, Stacks players? You got a new Stacks piece. Solid if only you didn't have to sack it. Do you have to? You don't have to sack it. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. Just let it sit there. Let it sit there and simmer. No activation required. Yeah, it is 2-mana rule of law. Well, this can be a downside to some people. Like, if you're not playing in Boros colors, then you can't play it in Commander. So there is that. They really balanced it like that. Or balanced, if anything. Just play more flash cards. Play cards at the end of your opponent's turn, then you can play multiple things at once. Boros Stack's really coming together lately. It's all coming together. It is all coming together. Chows! Welcome, Chows, with the Aven Interrupter. The Aven Interrupter is a 3-mana 2/2 bird rogue with flash flying. And when Aven Interrupter enters the battlefield, exile target spell. It becomes plotted. Whoa, that's... What's the downside? Spells your opponents cast from graveyards or from exile cost 2 more to cast. This is a banger. This is an absolute banger. This actually is incredible. When it enters about exile targets. Oh no! Oh, it's an exile target spell. It becomes plotted. Its owner may cast it as a sorcery on a later turn. Okay, I thought somehow we were stealing the spell. I thought we were stealing the spell. So it's like a remand on a 2/2 flash creature with flying. But spells your opponents cast from graveyards or from exile. So the owner may cast it. It does become exiled, so they have to spend 2 more mana on it, right? So they can cast it from exile on the future for paying nothing, but they have to pay something, which is actually 2 mana, which still eats up their turn. You can counter your own expensive spell to cast for 2 later. Why we are doing that, I don't know. Does it work with stuff on the stack? It only works with stuff on the stack. Exile target spell. That means, yeah, oh, this is going to be a rules nightmare for some people. It's like, I want to exile that card on the battlefield. No, you can't do that. You can only affect spells. So when someone casts, look at this like a counter spell. You got to look at it like it's remand. You know, remand. So, but instead of the card going back to their hand, it gets exiled. It gets plotted. It's plotted onto the battlefield. This also completely kills counterspells. That's since they become sorcery speed when plotted. That's right. It's true. That's actually another bonus. Okay, I think this card is still good. I thought it was a lot better. I thought it was like a Snapcaster Mage where you can like just 3 mana 2/2 flash it and play. But actually it's more of like a counter spell that delays the game. It's okay. It's good. It's still good. It's still good in my opinion. Counter your Dovin's Veto. Yeah, you could do that. It's like a clunky cancel in a way, but it's still a 2/2 creature with flash. Come and play it at any moment. You never know when it's going to sneak in play. All right, and with that, we are going to thank our sponsor today, FusionGamingOnline.com. We are looking at all these spoilers from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. You know where to get them from. You can get them at FusionGamingOnline.com. If there are anything that piques your fancy, you can support the channel buying directly from Fusion Gaming, our today's sponsor. And don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout to get an additional 5% off all your purchases. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Play any deck, any format you want. You like playing Standard without burning a ton of money on wild cards? Well, guess what? You can play Standard on Magic the Gathering online, and you can rent the decks no matter what the season is like. So if they ban cards, new set gets printed, completely shakes up the metagame, you send back your old deck that you're renting and you rent a new one. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_FL0. It's a way of playing infinite decks on Magic Online compared to MTG Arena. All right, and we got super chats. We got Majra. Look at that. You show up for shows that are not... You do show up for shows that have nothing to do with custom Magic the Gathering cards. Felix 5 Boots. With all 11 swords of X and Y. Huh? You mean every single sword that exists? Okay, we have a blue, green, black, 2 generic, 5/4 Ooze Rogue with Menace and Ward 2. Okay, stats are so far so good. Whenever a creature you control dealing combat damage to a player causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. This is a great card. Yeah, like, triggered abilities upon dealing damage, and it's if a creature you control. So yeah, you want to do it with all the swords. By all means, do it with all the swords. But if it is just any random creatures that have triggers, and you know, a lot of stuff triggers in green. Green loves to trigger. Green triggering people since I don't know, since they decided to buff up green above and beyond all the other colors of the color pie. Okay, we got who hasn't got? Okay, Sheelan's going to redeem themselves. We got Brittled Bighorn. There we go. It's a sheep. Bah. We have a 4-mana 3/4 sheep mount. You can mount it. It's got a. It has a saddle. Saddle 2 requires that many people to saddle a sheep. Okay, Vigilance. When it attacks while saddled, create a 1/1 wipe sheep creature token. Why does this require more power to saddle than that gigantic creature we saw earlier with the cactus helmet? That makes no sense at all. How big is this sheep? Is this like a giant cliff or something? And this is just, the scaling is just weird? This could be the Grand Canyon, and this Brittled Bighorn is, I mean, it is in the name, it's big. Bridled, it means saddled, huh? Oh, because it's not green. Oh, is that why? Saddle 1 would be value. Oh, because well, hey, why can't cards be value around here? Why can't cards be value? Okay, whatever. It's whenever it attacks, you create a 1/1 sheep creature token. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, so I guess the idea is that if you make the 1/1 sheep, then it like breaks itself because the new tokens can keep saddling this thing over and over and over and over again. There's nothing wrong with that. Paces fan forever. Have we done Oko, the ringleader? Oko, oh yeah, they brought Oko back. They brought all the baddies. All the most evil, sinister of all the villains of Magic the Gathering. They should have brought, is Hogak in this set? The set is nothing without Hogak. They should make a set with secretly all the banned cards of Magic the Gathering. They can have Splinter Twin, Hogak, Oko, all the most evil Magic like that. You're not a real villain until you get put on the banned list, in my opinion. Okay, we have a 3 loyalty, 4-mana Oko the Ringleader. At the beginning of combat on your turn, Oko the Ringleader becomes a copy of up to 1 target creature you control until end of turn, except he has hexproof. That's quite good. Can we attack? Okay, +1. Draw 2 cards. If you've committed a crime this turn, discard a card. Otherwise, discard 2 cards. Oh my god. That sounds easy enough. Okay, -1. Create a 3/3 green L creature token. Oh, now they balance this ability. Oh, now it's balanced. The original Oko just made like 3/3s at will, frankly. Okay, and then -5. For each other non-land permanent you control, create a token that's a copy of that permanent. Okay, all the abilities are pretty fair. I'm not gonna say this is a Broko Oko, but it's a fair Oko. It's fine. It might be really, I mean, the looting is really strong. I just don't know how well Simic can make use of this ability. Just gotta add another color and you're all good. Yeah, you can attack. He's not sick because the card itself is on the battlefield. Last mode of Rush of Dread plus Bloodletter of Aclazots equals insta-kill. Well, this is not a combo show, so I'm just gonna base it on Rush of Dread. But it looks like you found a combo, right? Rush of Dread, a 3-mana sorcery with Spree. Choose 1 or more additional costs. For an additional 1, target opponent sacrifices half the creatures they control, rounded up. For an additional 2, target opponent discards half the cards in their hand, rounded up. And then you said with the last mode, +2, target opponent loses half their life, rounded up. You want to combo that with Bloodletter of Aclazots, insta-kill. Well, insta-kill. 5-mana combo card A, some other mana combo card B. Boom, you win the game. Who would have thought? Okay, next up, what is David Sampson trying to get on here? Where's David Sampson? The Sword of Wealth and Power. The Sword of Billionaires, people. The Sword of Billionaires. It's the Capitalism Sword. 3 mana equipment. Whenever equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from instants and sorceries. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Whenever you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. It basically has hexproof. Like it doesn't have protection from creatures, but it has protection from most of the important spells out there, in my opinion. Yeah, and then you make treasures. Whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery spell, you get to double it. That card's insane. This is one of the better swords out there. The Sword of Bezos. The Sword of Amazon and Bezos. That's what they should call it. And whenever you buy one, you get one free. That's basically what this says. And also, when you subscribe to Amazon Prime, you get a free treasure token that you can use to spend on anything on Amazon. You get a free treasure token. Also, you get like a free not super chat. You get a free donation or sub. Free sub to your favorite streamer. Spend it as you wish. Included in your Amazon Prime subscription. Not sponsored, of course. What a funny card. Okay, Kagan, what do you got for us, Kagan? Insatiable Avarice. Seems like a decent tutor. Gonna need a copy of that. Everything's copying itself. Insatiable Avarice. It is a black sorcery with spree. Okay, +2. So it's really 3. This is really messing with my head. I mean, imagine you look up cards that are like 1 mana and this comes up. Like, it's not really 1 mana. Can you cast this for 1 mana? Can I just say Insatiable Avarice for nothing? Can I just dump it into the graveyard? I don't think so. So you have to choose 1 or more additional costs. I have to pay 2 colorless. Search your library for a card, then shuffle and put that card on top. You could also pay a double black. And target player draws 3 cards and loses 3 life. Oh, it's like super divination. Super divination. This is actually pretty good. Pay 3 mana, basically draw 3 cards. I don't think so, based on Spree's wording. That's what I don't think so either. You think you can, and that's fine. I don't think you can choose 1 or more additional costs. Like, what's the target? Does it do anything? You can get it with Micromancer. I guess the deal is you can tutor for this with some cards that are like pay, you know, go look through your deck for a 1 mana card, put in your hand or something like that. I guess that's how this works. It's a better demonic tutor? Not really. It's 3 mana. It's worse vampiric, and then put that card on top. I mean, it's a strictly worse vampiric tutor. This is a completely fixed vampiric tutor. What happens if you cascade a spree card and don't pay any additional costs? That's a great question. That's a great question for Wizards of the Coast. If I cascade into Insatiable Avarice and I didn't pay an additional anything, what happens to me? Does anything happen at all? Do I get a card? Can I pay the cost later? Do I get any mode that I want? Someone's asking the real questions out here. Okay, Majra says they specifically said it's impossible to cast it for nothing less. You have to choose a thing. But what if I cascade into it? Does nothing fizzles? You have to pay. So you gotta pay up. You gotta pay. You gotta pay to play around here. You don't pay. You don't play. Okay, next up we got John. Thank you very much for your super chat. We got Gold Vein Hydra. Gold Vein Hydra is a green X 0/0 Hydra with Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. Enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, and when the Hydra dies, create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to its power. Not bad, not bad. So you get like this big trampling vigilance fast creature, or it dies and you're gonna put out an even larger Hydra later. Maybe even reanimate this thing for even more mana than it did in the first place. Maybe you even want to sack your own Hydra to get more value. Looks good. Okay, for Ginka, Tomb Trawler is my pick. Tomb Trawler is a 2 mana 0/4 golem. Pay 2. Put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Isn't this like a Beamtown Bullies card or something like that? I can't remember. There's some maybe I got their commander wrong. There's some commander that makes use of the cards on the bottom of your library. So this is like a super niche playable card. But like, I would, under any normal circumstances, I think it's crap. You need this in like the very, very right deck. Oh, Majra's in love with this card. You fell in love with the Tomb Trawler, huh? Dying is common on Thunder Junction. Well, then why would we want to be there? Resting in peace is a much rarer commodity. No comments on this? Nothing? She draws from the bottom of your library? Oh, is that how Beamtown... Hold on. Beamtown Bullies? Oh, you're talking about River Song? Hold on. River Song. No, when you give me comments, you gotta give me... You draw cards from the bottom of your library rather than from the top. All right, that's a combo. That's a synergy. We call that synergy. We call that synergy. Oh, I was thinking of Grenzo. Grenzo. I just show how much of a commander player I am. Steve Cooper. Ackle the Unrepentant. And 4 super chats. 4 donated. It looks like a custom card one of us could have made. Maybe it is. You never know these days. You know, I would not be surprised if Wizards of the Coast is taking a little peek-see at those custom Magic the Gathering cards, looking for a little inspiration. It's a red, red, black, black, 5/5 Scorpion, Dragon, Rogue, flying and trample. Sacrifice 3 other creatures. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcerer and only once each turn. Ah, God. Okay, so like the creature by itself is actually quite good. It's a 4 mana 5/5 flying trampling creature, super hard to block, and it's got like this extra ability attached to it. But you have to sacrifice your children to put a singular creature from your hand onto the battlefield. Yeah, I guess it's fine. It's really color intensive though. You're not gonna easily cast this card. This can't be a custom card. It doesn't use Phyrexian mana. Oh, you're right. It doesn't use yeah, quadruple Phyrexian mana. Phyrexian black, Phyrexian black, Phyrexian red, Phyrexian red. That's how it would work around here. Okay, it's a good card though. Okay, we're gonna look at Wiley Duke from our Korean fam. It's our first super chat. Sorry, first donated super chat from Steve Cooper. The card itself is an irony. It's a 3 mana 4/2 human ranger with vigilance. And when Wiley Duke, Atten Hero, becomes tapped, you gain 1 life and draw a card. How is that possible? Oh, so we need to crew something. Sorry, no, we need to saddle. We're going to saddle something with this. So we gain 1 life and draw a card. I see the synergy. I've seen a fair few worlds in my travels, and there's always some low life looking to prey on the innocent. That's where I come in. And I think this is also fine to play in a deck with vehicles. Like, probably this is like a really good vehicle enabler in some way. So like the whole deal is tap this thing and you draw cards. You could also use Springleaf Drum with this card. So you can actually attack. Actually, it probably does better with Springleaf Drum. You attack, then use Springleaf Drum to tap it for mana and gain life, draw cards. So, I mean, that's good value. Not to mention you get to ramp with the thing. Yeah, the vigilance being a downside. It's like, yeah, it's a contradiction in a way. You want to tap it to gain life and draw cards. You need some card on the battlefield that says all your creatures lose vigilance. Convoke also works. I think there's a lot of really good ways to enable this card. I think this is a great card. You can also always just attack, smack your opponent, and then enable, do whatever the hell you want with it later. Okay, next up, I don't think Abzo got a card yet. Okay, so this is our second donated super chat. Erit the Begular. I thought it was like a really fancy way of saying burglar. Mind over matter, isn't it? Yeah, mind over matter can work. Okay, we have a black, blue, white, 1 generic 4/4 human warlock with lifelink. Whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to that aura's mana value, gain control of that permanent for as long as that aura is attached to it. Oh, I see. So, like, this is a card you want to build an entire deck of auras over. This is going to be so sad for whoever has to play against this thing. And this is obviously your commander. Not to mention, there's a million cards in blue and white that you can play with this deck. You just put an aura of, like, We can't put Rancor. That's green. Ethereal Armor. That works. Ethereal Armor. I'm going to put Ethereal Armor on your card. I gain control of that permanent for as long as this aura is on it. This actually is insane. If you actually, you know what? If you think about it, hold on. What is it called? Mind Control. This costs 5 mana. And there's also Control Magic, which is a little bit cheaper. Control Magic. These cards are usually insanely expensive, like beyond stupid expensive. Abso says, my friend already said I cannot bring this once it has been revealed. You'll get banned from the play group. So like you just look at the scale that at least 4 mana is fair to control enchanted creature. And then we've got something that will say 1 mana. You spend a 1 mana aura, like on Ethereal Armor or Curiosity. Not Curiosity, is that green? Maybe Curious Obsession. I don't know if you can put that on opponent's creatures. You get the idea. Like there's a lot of auras out there that are like, they give these marginal buffs to creatures, but now they just steal the creature outright. You swipe it, it becomes yours. So anyway, yeah, read the Bigular looks pretty busted. The aura needs to be equal or higher CMC than the card it's enchanting. Control becomes enchanted to a non-permanent opponent controls mana value less than or equal. Okay, you steal the 1 mana. Okay, you're right. That is fair, actually. This is a very fair point. So you have to actually fill your deck with maybe a lot more junk than I thought you can. You know what? This card's just fair. Erit doesn't even need to stay out, doesn't it? For as long as that card is attached to it. I think this card needs to be in play in order for this works. Beguiler? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, do you know what? I take it back. This card is, like, fair, not broken. Yeah, the whole thing about the mana value being equal or less, that's a bit of a bummer, to be honest. Okay, Jess wants a card. This is going to be the 3rd super chat donation. Gold Rush. We all know how much people love gold in the multiverse. What it's useful for, I have no idea, because it would seem like magic is more powerful than gold. 2 mana instant. Create a treasure token. Until end of turn, up to 1 target creature gets +2/+2 for each treasure you control. So you could, in theory, smack someone for a ton. I mean, if you have enough treasures in play. But I don't think that's common. It's like really weird mana ramp. Not a huge fan of this card. It's more of a, like, it's more of a draft card than anything. Don't believe anyone who tells you to bite it. If it's the real thing, you'll know. Or you could just fool yourself. Kano Roxanne. Starfall Savant for the pun. You like the puns, huh? We got a cat. It's a 5 mana 4/3 cat druid. Enters the battlefield or attacks, create a tapped colorless artifact token named Meteorite. With when Meteorite enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target, and tap, add 1 mana of any color. Whenever you tap an artifact token for mana, add 1 mana of any type that artifact token produced. So effectively, oh, it's only whenever you tap an artifact token, not sacrifice. But when you do treasures count? Because you do tap the treasure, right? When you tap an artifact token for mana, add 1 mana of any color. I'm just wondering if this doubles the amount of mana you get from the treasures. Or is it only counting the meteorites that we make? Yeah, it's gonna double the treasures. All right, then this is gonna double the fun around here. Treasures and power stones, baby. Treasures and power stones. So gold, treasures, and power stones. Anything shiny, effectively. Shiny equals mana. Okay, actually, this is I never thought about it this way, but treasures truly are the pay to win of the multiverse. You pay in money, you get mana. Pay to win. We're no longer getting our aura, our essence from like the lands. Like, isn't that the idea? We're supposed to summon the power of the lands. Instead, we're summoning the power of our wallet within the game itself. Also, that weird giant that makes ice mana crystals. All right. Not familiar with the weird giant. Turiat with tiny bones. The pickpocket. We have our skeleton rogue. You have any other comments? Probably try this in Pioneer Rogue. All right, we have a black 1/1 with Death Touch. Whenever Tiny Bones, the Pickpocket deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard. And mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. Ah, so it's like the Pickpocket Snap. Is it like a Pickpocket Snapcaster Mage? You may cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard and spend mana. Okay, that's neat. That's very, very neat. And you can snipe off people's creatures. It's any non-land permanent. So you can steal. It's like Ragavan, isn't it? This reminds me of Ragavan, except the only difference is that you can't cast the cards from the top of their deck. You cast cards from their graveyard, and you can cast anything from their graveyard. Yeah, it's Graveyard Ragavan. Graveyard Monkey. Maybe this is Ragavan in dead form. Oh, the flesh is off. I mean, it's the same size. Used to be Ragavan, the Nimble Pilfer. Now it's Tiny Bones, the Pickpocket. In death, I am Tiny Bones. Pickpocketing still. We did it, Toes. We finally got Tiny Bones on the show. You tried that hard, huh? Yeah, Rakdos is able to play both of them. We take from the top of your deck. We take from your graveyard. Alright, next up, let's go with Termis with Ravan. Is Ravan a card? No, it is not. Unless I guess that was a joke. Or Ragavan and Tiny Bones somehow. Oh, Ragavan is still stealing in the afterlife? Yes, of course. It's worth monies. Okay, Martino with Bonnie Paul. The Clear Cutter. This is a blue-blue-green, 3 generic, 6/5 giant scout with reach. Bonnie Paul, a Clear Cutter, enters the battlefield. Create Bew, a legendary blue ox creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. Whenever you attack, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. This is just like 5 mana value card, basically. So you get to attack. There's a lot of cards very similar to this. Except it comes... Well, here's the deal. It's 6 mana for 2 creatures. So you get a 2-for-1. Buy 1 Bonnie Paul, get a... It comes into play... Buy 1 Bonnie Paul, and included with your purchase comes a Bew. And the creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control, which can get bigger as you draw more cards and put more lands onto the battlefield. So you can actually... The Bew can get larger in combat. Paul Bunyan reference. You know what? I don't know much about the Wild West lore, so I do not get that reference. Pacers fan forever. The final showdown. Sounds like a sweeper. Final showdown is for a single white. It's an instant with Spree. All creatures lose all abilities until end of turn. Whoa! That's pretty good. Okay, and then for also 1 generic, choose a creature you control. It gains indestructible until end of turn. Okay, this card is just... The first 2 abilities are already insane. And then for 5 mana, we destroy the creatures as well. This is a great card. This is a banger. It's 22 bucks, and for good reason. So at the right moment, everyone loses their abilities, and they will kill some creatures by doing that. And also, you can give your own creature indestructible. Oh, if you have enough mana, you can make your creature indestructible and blow up all the creatures at the same time. So if you have 7 mana, you destroy all the creatures and make one of your creatures indestructible. Insane card. I'm convinced Nikachu is not actually Canadian with his lack of French pronunciation. Oh, my French is terrible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it. I'm done. Je m'appelle Nikachu. That's all the French I know. Well, I know a little bit more than that, but really not that much more. Gets around indestructible? Nice. Oh yeah, you can also make all your opponent's creatures lose all abilities until end of turn. Is it going to be a timestamp thing? Final showdown. I make my creature indestructible and I destroy all creatures. Then the opponent says, in response to your final showdown, I have the real final showdown. All your creatures lose all abilities, and then my creature's indestructible. I guess that wouldn't work. So creature loses all abilities, but then they gain indestructible. Yeah, I guess whoever plays the final showdown first. Whoever plays the first of many final showdowns is still going to have an indestructible creature, I guess. You would need the thing to resolve first, which is too late. What a weird card. I'd like to play another final showdown. Oh yeah, and it's an instant sweeper. That's right. It is an instant sweeper. Hey, Christopher B is here with Dust. Dust Animus. Dust Animus is a 2-mana, 2/3 spirit with flying. Holy crap. Just with those stats, 2 mana for a 2/3 with flying, a Pioneer Spirits is just drooling over this card. If you control 5 or more untapped lands, Dust Animus enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters and a lifelink counter on it. You could also plot this for 2 mana. So, like, I guess the idea is you plot it, and then on turn 4, and the next turn you play a land, you play your 5th land, it comes to play huge. Not bad. Not bad. The only problem is that it doesn't have any relevant abilities early on in the game, which is probably, honestly, the most important part of the game. All right, Pacers fan forever. What do you got for us? Kellen the Kid. Kellen the Kid is a 3-mana, 3/3 human fairy rogue with flying and lifelink. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you may cast a permanent spell with equal or lesser mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. You can play 2 spells at once. If you don't, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. This card's insane. This card is just insane. This card might as well have been... What's that card? You can't play more than 1 spell... Or no, hold on. You can't play more than 2 spells a turn. It's an enchantment, and you can play spells for free so long as it costs as much or less mana value as the lands you have in play. I think this card is just busted. I found out who I was. Now it's time to discover who I am. So you can play spells, and if you don't play a spell, if you don't want to play another spell from your hand, you can put a lance from your hand onto the battlefield. So it's like a weird ramp. It's free. It's free cards without paying its mana cost. Do people, like, read this thing properly? It's got flying and lifelink at the same time. Yeah, I was thinking of fires. It's Fires of an Intervention. Sorry, Fires of Invention. Like, that's basically what this is, right? You can't... this is 4 mana. You can cast spells only on during your turn, and you can cast no more than 2 spells each turn. You may cast spells with converted mana costs less than or equal to the number of lands you control without paying their mana costs. So effectively, you get to play 1 spell a turn and then something else for free with less mana value. You could, in fact, effectively, if you don't have a whole lot of expensive cards in your hand, you could just dump your hand very quickly. The ability isn't amazing, but tacked onto a 3/3 flying lifelink for 3 is good. I think the ability is amazing. I think this ability is wild. I think our greatest bottleneck in Magic the Gathering is our mana. You have more mana, you have more power. And this card just says, okay, like, I can fill up my... You could play, like, Divination and still play a 2-mana spell at the same time. Think of it that way. So let's take a look at Divination, for example. Or even Archmage's Charm. So you can play Archmage's Charm. 3 mana, draw 2 cards, and then at the same time as drawing those 2 cards, play a random spell from your hand. So effectively, you got 3 mana, draw 2 cards, play a spell. That's how you have to look at this. Or I guess it's like draw 1 card, play a spell, like cantrips off of everything. I think this is bonkers. Still need a way to play from somewhere other than your hand. Oh yeah! Oh damn it. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, well, you just exile stuff. Oh, I guess, oh, this was a plotting thing. Yeah, synergy with plot. Okay, it's still Fires of Invention, but not nearly as good. It's like a clunkier Fires of Invention. Okay, I'll admit. Clunkier Fires of Invention. Yeah. I didn't realize... Yeah, I missed this. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you may cast spells. So that's how they balance this thing. Alright, it's good, but not broken. Or Foretell. Or Cascade. Or Plot. Or Adventure. You guys know how to build around this card. You'll do it. All right, let's get to... Actually, let's get one more freebie. Welcome, MTG Gaming Bob. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing great. Did Martino get a card? Loan Shark? It's literally a Loan Shark. It's a 4-mana 3/4. Enters the battlefield. If you cast 2 or more spells this turn, you get to draw a card. That should be easy. Just play like a random artifact and then Loan Shark. You can also plot for 4 mana, which makes it easier. So you plot for 4 mana, you set it aside, you can play it next turn and get some ability off of it. It's okay. It's like, honestly, it's more of a draft. You know what? This is like more of a draft card than anything. Okay, Arcana saying that they didn't get a card. Assimilation Aegis. This is a 3-mana equipment. Enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target creature until Assimilation Aegis leaves the battlefield. So, okay, at worst case scenario, it's like Oblivion Ring. When it becomes attached to a creature, for as long as Assimilation Aegis remains attached to it, that creature becomes a copy of the creature card, exiled with Assimilation Aegis. I think this is just janky, to be honest. So I guess worst case scenario, it's removal, but then best case scenario, I guess you get to keep you get to use the creature as the power of your own. What a weird card. Very strange. A lot of strange playables in this set. Okay, Pacers fan forever. Ty Waken. Perfect shot. Oh, perfect shot? Did I hear a perfect shot? Okay, 2 mana for a 2/3 human mercenary. Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to a creature equal to that creature's toughness, draw a card. So if I deal non-combat damage to a creature equal, so like it has 3 toughness, I deal 3 damage. I'll make a little coin around here. Pay X, tap. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent or player this turn, he deals that much damage plus X instead. Ah, this is how we fill up the gap in order to kill off the creature so that we can get our value. You best keep yourself out of my sights. I think this is clunky. I'm sure you could build around it, though. Abaz was like, Ty Waken, my beloved. Corbinek is like, I love this card. 8.5 out of 10. Is this insane? Am I missing something here? I think I'm missing something here. This is how Lightning Helix kills Shieldred. It will. I mean, yeah, if you put enough effort into it, you can kill anything. You'd best keep yourself out of my sights. Anyway, okay, so, if you guys think this is good, maybe it's good. I'm not particularly excited about this. I guess the deal is if you attack with a lot of creatures, your opponent's blocks are awkward, because like all the blocks will fail on them because the rest of the damage, if source you control would deal non-combat damage. Oh, it has to be non-combat damage. So I have to use burn spells in order to get that value. Too bad that you have to control the source. You do have to control the source. And it has to be non-combat damage. I don't like it. I don't like this card. I think this is janky. This is super janky. And all we do is draw a card off of this. You know, those burn spells are going to run out. And all it does is kill creatures. Source you control would deal a con to a permanent or player this turn. Oh, so we can up the damage. Oh, I see. So the benefit is if we have infinite mana and we bolt a player for like 3 damage, we could deal the rest of the damage to kill him in 1 shot. Okay, in that case, there might be some danger this card. There might be some danger. Didn't we get your card right at the beginning, Toads? I almost do that every single time. Okay, hold on. I'm going to get to the last super chat. Pacers fan forever with Double Down. Double Down is a 4-mana enchantment. Whenever you cast an outlaw spell, copy that spell. The only problem is you have to copy nonsense. Assassins, mercenaries. Pirates aren't bad. Rogues and warlocks. I guess the 2 winners here are pirates and rogues. I think those are the most beneficial. Those are like the most playable cards. I don't know. Are there like insane mercenaries that I've never heard of? Insane assassins? I know there are assassins, but I don't know if there's not that many good ones. Oh, look at that. It can copy Morophon. There we go. We've got Pedgeman thinking about how it's gonna help the Morophon deck. Yeah, we're gonna go double Morophon here. Am I seeing double, or are there 2 Morophons on the battlefield? And Alchemy might be broken. How? What are we doubling with? Play Double Down with Maskwood Nexus. We're gonna double everything around here. Oh yeah, so like basically any creature type can be doubled because Maskwood Nexus will create whatever creature type we want. More fun is legendary. You can't copy it. Oh, is that true? Whenever you cast an outlaw spell, copy that spell. Warlocks, copies of perms become tokens. Oh, yeah. Well, you can. Whoa, 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 whoa. You can copy the Morphon. You're just not going to like how it ends up. It is a legal thing that you can do. You can hey, whoa, whoa. It is illegal. It is a legal play. You know, just let your opponent cook. Let them cook. Let them learn from their mistakes. That's all. Exactly. There, your software understands. You can copy it, but the second Morphon will just die. Okay, hold on. So Toad's claims we haven't... Okay, what's Toad's thing? Toads talks more about complaining that he hasn't got a card yet than actually mentioning a card. I thought I got your card like super at the beginning of the show. This is gonna be broken in my Rogues EDH deck. It probably is. I think this benefits Pirates and Rogues the most, because I think Pirates and Rogues have a lot of like pretty good cards. The Gitrog, they have the Gitrog monster in here. Is the Gitrog like the new Jace, where they just put that everywhere? The Gitrog, Ravenous Ride. Pay $5 for admission. 5 mana for a 6/5 frog horde mount. We can mount the Gitrog. Trample and haste. There we go. This should be my haste sound effect. Whenever the Gitrog Ravenous Ride deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a creature that saddled it this turn. Oh god. It's like, what are we flinging the thing that was riding it? If you do, draw X cards and put up to X land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, Pace Fan Forever with the Railway Brawler. This is a 5 mana 5/5 Rhino Warrior with Reach and Trample. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is its power. Holy crap, this is like a super hardened scales. You can also plot for 4 mana. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is its power. Actually, what is X? The power of the Railway Brawler, or the X of the creature's power, the creature that's coming into play? Either way, that's a very strong ability. Although I have to say, this is like, it's pretty expensive for its ability. But you know what, you Commander players, it's 5 mana for a 5/5 creature with Reach and Trample. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all. It's the other creatures? Oh, it's the other creatures. I think that's still great. Creature comes into play with 4 power, you get +4/+4. You basically double the power of every creature that comes into play. King Ginger asking, did we do Archmage's Newt? Archmage's Newt. 2 mana for a 2/2 Salamare Mount. Whenever Archmage's Newt deals combat damage to a player, a target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. That card gains flashback 0 until end of turn. Instead of Archmage's Newt, until end of turn. Instead, if Archmage's Newt is saddled, and you saddle for 3. So otherwise, it's a Grizzly Bear. You deal damage to a player. Target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback. That's so weird. It's like a slow Snapcaster Mage. It's like a really slow Snapcaster Mage. But and it's 0. It costs a nothing if the thing was saddled. So if it's under control. Old boy's like, I'm smelling extra turns around here. You smell that? Smells like extra turns. I think this card's great. I think this is a banger. But it's still a slow Snapcaster Mage. Termus says, problem is it doesn't have evasion yet. Doesn't have evasion yet, but it'll have evasion eventually. Hold on, did someone mention the Jite, the new Jite? I saw someone mention the Jite. I want to get at least that one. Turiat mentioned Lost Jite. I have no idea how to interpret this card. It's a 1 mana legendary equipment. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage, put a charge counter on Lost Jite. Remove a charge counter from Lost Jite. Choose one. Untap target land. Target creature can't block this turn. That'd be good with your salamander. All right. A little bit of synergy there. Put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. You can also equip for 1. All these abilities are like really weak. The only upside is that like it's really cheap to play and enable. So like that's the benefit to this card. But it's like, I don't understand why anyone even wants to compare this to Umezawa's Jite. They're not even comparable cards. This is standard legal too. Yeah, it's gonna be standard legal. It is not even close to it. The only thing that's the same is that they both have the name Jite in the title. That's it. There is no other comparison except I guess the charge counter thing. I call this a hefty downgrade to the original Jite, but I've been wrong before. So like I've no doubt that this card can see some play, but it's not even remotely nearly as powerful. Tutors with Urza Saga? Yeah, it does. But like I think the Urza Saga tutors already like pretty tight. Like would you really want to go find Lost Jite, or would you want to just get, I don't know, Shadow Spear, which actually does infinitely more and is great. The art is similar, if I recall correctly. You are not wrong. It is similar to the actual Umezawa's Jite. The OG Jite got a little bit rusty over time. Yeah, the rusty blade. Sometimes the rusty blade still stabs you all the same. Okay, Pacers fan forever with Bristly Beer. Sorry, Bristly Bill. Spine Sower. Green 1 generic 2/2 plant druid with landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. 5 mana, double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. I think this is jank. Oh no, whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter. Oh, it comes out early. Oh, okay, it comes out early, and you can immediately start putting counters on creatures. Land counter, fetch counter. Search up a land counter. Counter. Almond is like, I didn't get a card yet. Philip thing. Fibble step. Okay, hold on. I'm just put lost on the range. Well, that range can't be that big. 3 mana 1/1 with ward 2. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. The top card of your library has plot. The plot cost is equal to its mana cost. You may plot the non-land cards from the top of your library. Jank, in my opinion. I guess you could look at it as like a future sight card, I guess. You didn't get one either? This show is too big. There's so many people watching this show. Another round. What the hell is this? 3 mana XX. Exile any number of creatures you control, then return them to the battlefield under the owner's control, then repeat the process X more times. Oh, any number of creatures? Well, this card's gonna be super amazing, or it's gonna be super jank. That's all I'm gonna say about this card. I'm not the type of person that plays with these like ETB things. This is a magical Christmas land card in my opinion. Alright, that's it for today's show. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Thank you very much for showing up. And I hope Outlaws of Thunder Junction inspires you to make more decks. And we're also going to thank everyone who supports the channel. If you're a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, or use Super Chat to be part of the show, or Super Chat for other people to be part of the show. And thank you for everyone who shows up for the show. By the way, the time of the show is probably going to change. I don't know what it's going to change to. I just can't do it at this time anymore. It's either going to be very early in the day, somewhere more in the middle of the day, or at the end of the day. So be prepared for a time change. Where it is, who knows? That's a whole gamble for all of you. But for the time being, thank you so much. We do show up no matter what time it is. Like Christopher B, Termus, Aquarius. We got Tommy Siddons, Steve Cooper, Mordrek, David Sampson, Abzo Toes for Ginka, Turiot, King Ginger, Jess Oldboy. Who else do we not have here? I know you people like to submit many times. Soft Feather, because you guys are the crew that makes the show. So as usual, my coffee crew, keep bringing up them coffees or teas, and we'll keep bringing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.